Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk with Renisher, the show that aims to inspire, empower, and encourage you as I talk with real people on their journey. So, of course, today I have another amazing guest. My guests are always amazing. I'm so happy and proud to have them on. And this guest is hailing all the way from Dallas, Texas. She's a flight attendant, a motivational speaker, life coach, and the author of 5 published books. 3 of those books are on motivational. One is a children's book, and one is a 365-day journal. And of course, she'll tell you all about those in more detail. Please welcome to the show, Miss Angela Wynette. Hi, Angela. Welcome to the
Hi,
show.
everyone. Thank you so much for the invite. I am so elated that you wanted to sit down and speak with me.
Absolutely. And Angela, uh, you're this multifaceted, amazing, entrepreneurial woman that, of course, definitely wanted to share your story on here because I know it's going to inspire and encourage and motivate someone. And that's why you're here because that's what this show is all about. So I am super excited to have this amazing conversation with you. And we're going to go right on in. Why not, right?
I'm ready. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. So my first question for you, Angela, is you have again an amazing resume of accomplishments. You have done some amazing work up until now. Can you tell us how your career as an author began?
My career actually as an author began during the pandemic, being a flight attendant because I was junior in my career. Well, 10 years in, but even within 10 years, I was still junior in my career and we were furloughed. And so during that time of being furloughed, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go back to school. I have this time off. So, I'm always trying to find ways to better myself. And people always said, you give amazing advice, you give, good guidance. So I decided to go back to school to become a life coach. I wanted to be educated versus giving my opinion. And I wanted to give people concrete foundational tools that they could use to truly be successful and be their best self. And so during that time of going back to school, one of my professors heard my story. We had to submit some information, read my story and was like, you need to write a book. And I was like, no, nobody's going to want to like, read what I have to say. And he was like, no, you need to write a book. And so I did. I sat down and because I had so much free time being off work, within 2 months, I finished my first book. And I released it on Black Friday because I was like, you know what? It's a theme everybody's willing to spend anyway. And so I released it. And within the first hour or so, it sold 100 copies. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, maybe it's just a fluke. Everybody's at home. We're bored. And so 6 months later, I released my second book and did an official book signing because the world was back open by then. And the book signing had an amazing turnout that was so astonishing. It surprised me. I was like, okay, well, maybe people actually do like, what I had to say. And so it kind of picked up from there. And next thing I know, 5 books later, here we are, and I also ghostwrite for other people. So I put out books for other authors. And it's been an amazing journey.
Wow. You know what I like about this? Because you and everyone else, anyone who's doing anything, how we always second guess ourselves and said, no one wants to hear my story. They have better things that they're doing. And so many people do want to hear our stories.
Right.
Again, it's inspiring and it's encouraging. I'm like, oh, it's the pandemic. They're bored. They want to read books anyway. Girl, no. They want to hear your story. That's why it sold as fast as it did.
Yeah.
So prior to this, did you know that you were an amazing writer?
I've always loved to write. In school, that was my strongest concept and ability in school. That was my best asset that I had. I could always write. I love to put things on paper. And part of that is because that was the best way I knew how to express myself. I was not good at verbally communicating when it came to controversial situations. And so for me, it was better to write out my feelings and emotions. And so I would always write these amazing paragraphs and dialogues. And so when it came to writing a book, it was just super easy. Like once I got the concept of how I wanted the book to flow and how I wanted things to kind of be in order, the book kind of just wrote itself. It was just I just sat down and turned on my music and would just write. And hours later, I would look up and be like, "Oh, I guess I should take a break." It was therapeutic for me.
Wow. It's nice because I've always journaled. And one of the biggest things that I tell clients who don't have quote unquote support system, journal. Journal
Right,
your thoughts, journal your feelings, get it out. It's such an amazing way to put those things on paper and
right,
just put it away. Yeah,
right,
you know.
right. And for me, it was a great asset tool because I was able to go back and track my progress.
Yes.
Because sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for the progress that we have made, or we don't even recognize it. And so going back and reading old notes and old journals, it showed me how far I had come and I didn't even realize my growth in that process. So it's a good way to help keep yourself on track.
Absolutely. What I like about that as well is you go back and you read things from 5, 10, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
however you are, and you laugh. You have an
Yeah.
amazing, big, huge laugh because, oh my gosh, how did I think like that 10 years
Right.
ago? Because, right now you're so much grown and you're so much better. And I
Right.
can't believe 10 years ago, I actually thought this thing was so important to me that I couldn't do
Right.
without it. You
Most
laugh.
definitely. Most definitely. It's a good reflection tool, again, to see how you've matured, in so many areas, in so many ways. Yeah.
Definitely a tool to show growth. So awesome. So that's where you kind of started. So you
Yeah.
always had that writing in you, did not know how to get it out there until now. Which leads me into my second question. So as a published author of 5 books, right? I said you've done 3 motivational books, you've done one for children, and a 365-day journal. What inspired you to write any of these books? You can start with any of those.
What inspired me was, I guess I would say, my friends always said, you seem so put together. You seem like you have the life of world figured out. And I said, well, no, and so they always say, well, how do you manage? How are you able to get these concepts and just, seem to make things flow? And so that's what inspired the books. I wanted to put on paper what helped me so that people can have a tool to use. And so my first book talks about my pain versus my purpose. And that book inspired a tell all about myself. And it allowed me to be able to just go and talk about toxic relationships, self esteem issues, depression issues, overcoming cancer at the age of 19, losing my younger brother at the age of 20 to diabetes that we didn't know he had, being in a toxic marriage, and just how all of those things affected me. But because I did not address them, it consumed me and took over my life. And so it was a way to let people know that if we don't handle the things in our life, they will handle us.
Yes.
And so then after I released that first book, which is a tell-all, then it came out with the second book, and that book was a roadmap, step by step, called Hurt, Healed, Happy. That book was a roadmap, step by step, of how I was able to actually deal with those situations, overcome them, conquer them instead of letting them continue to conquer me, and then truly be my best self. And so that's how those books, came about, of just people always giving me that nudge, if you have great advice, so well, let me put that advice in books and see, if that can give you resources that you need to actually truly be successful, that you can go back and refer to even after you forget the conversation that we had.
It's amazing. Wow. So I didn't know, like I told you a few minutes ago, I did not know that you were a breast cancer survivor at the age of 19, nonetheless.
Yeah, so it was actually ovarian and cervical at
I mean,
19.
sorry,
Yes.
ovarian cancer.
No, no worries. Yes, yes.
Got it.
Yeah, first and only case in my family. I found out on a winter break. I had just started college, had did my first semester, and I was on a job, got sick, was not feeling well, passed out. And so made an appointment and was just like, hey, okay, let's go see what's going on. And they found it. And at that case in time, it was like, okay, we need to do surgery immediately. And so we started the process and the treatment. And being 19 and young and naive, I did not follow instructions. I did not do everything I was supposed to do. I still was going to college. I was still a full-time student. I was still trying to hold a job, still trying to do my degree all at the same time. And so there were areas, again, just being young and not wanting to truly admit that this was my life and that this was happening to me. And so I neglected some things and probably allowed myself to be sicker longer than I had to, but it was all a part of the process. And it was all the plan of what I had to go to in order to fulfill my purpose of now being the person that I am.
I love how you put that positive spin on things. It's all part of the process and the plan to get to where you are today, and it sure is.
Yeah.
But that the first book you mentioned is all about being vulnerable,
Yes.
and that's hard. I can't even imagine writing a book about that kind of stuff. That
Yeah.
is so speaks to you being vulnerable. It's like putting myself out there. So like when people say, "My life is an open book," it's
Yeah.
not really, right? Yours is, Angela, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, most definitely. And for me, it was the biggest thing for me was the accountability. I finally had to look myself in the mirror and realize I was the common denominator to every single one of the issues in my life. Whether I allowed it to happen to me or whether I caused it to happen, at the end of the day, I still played a part in it and I had to own that.
Accountability. How many times do we blame other people for our stuff?
Yeah, most
They
definitely.
didn't do this that way. They didn't do this. They didn't do that.
Yeah,
Hello. You allow them to not do it this way. You allow
exactly.
them to treat you a certain way. So
Yeah,
just you saying that accountability because we don't. It's always easier for us to see what the other person is doing or not doing than what
right.
we are doing. So that's self-reflection. That's like
Hmm.
sitting there and really reflecting on myself and being
Right,
accountable for it and then being again vulnerable for it.
right.
Amazing. Tell us about the children's book. Do you have
So the
kids?
children's book, my niece and nephew. So my first book, it has my face on it, my picture on it, and so it looks like this. And this particular book here, that's the first one, and it has my picture on it. And
Yeah.
so basically, it's the broken side of me, the broken version of me versus the healed version of me.
Yes.
And so my niece and nephew saw that and came over one day and was like, "Oh, Amy, we want a picture with our, book with our picture on it." And I was like, okay, let me figure out how I can make that happen. So I went to work and I put together an inspirational book for them, which is called I'm Possible. And with that book, it basically is teaching kids early about breaking those generational cycles. That they do not have to be what society says they're supposed to be, but they can be whatever they want to be. And we can start cultivating that early in life instead of waiting till they're teenagers and adults. But we can start there when they're 5 and 6 years old, signing them up for those camps, taking them to those career days, exposing them to all different kinds of opportunities to awaken their mindset to see what they want to do.
Wow. A motivational book for kids,
Yeah. Yeah, it
children.
has it has a little rhyme in it. And so the little rhyme, the kids love it. So at the end of the book, they're repeating the rhyme and and so it's really cute. It's really cute and they love it. Yeah.
Kids. Never thought of that
Yeah.
for kids. So they know is that we don't have to be who society, who everyone else think
Right.
we're supposed to be.
Right.
And we can be ourselves.
Right.
We can be ourselves. And we can be
Yeah.
positive no matter what.
Yeah.
By the storms, no matter what.
Right.
Something else has been instilled within us.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, a motivational book for because of course we're gonna have where she has all of these books so our audience can go out there and get them, buy them, you know, so they'll have a copy of that too. Because I have never heard of a motivational book for children. I think that's amazing that you've decided to do that for them. And so
Yeah.
their faces are on the cover of that one.
Yes, so it's
Okay.
featuring my nieces and nephews, so they are the real life characters in the book, and so it has all of their faces on it. And again, it's a very cute book for them. Again, just for kids, and then again the other books as well. Just everything you can find on Amazon under my
Awesome.
name. Angela Wynette. You can also find it on Barnes and Nobles, Angela Wynette. You can also go to my personal website, angelawynette.com. And if you order directly from me, and just put it in the notes, I can autograph it and mail it to you. Or if you're within the Dallas Metroplex, I can meet you and deliver the books, but anyway, I find, several ways I like to get the material out to people, because I do realize that it is helpful and it is very beneficial for people. And so I want everybody to have it in every way possible. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. I even like that personal piece. You're in the Dallas Metroplex, I can deliver that book to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that, right? So we'll definitely have all of your links for all of this stuff, and in the description section of the show, so people can find you and get their copies of this. I
Yes.
love a book that is personally autographed. I think that is clever, it's awesome, it's authentic, and we don't see that again. We don't see it anymore. You don't have to be at a book signing to get an autographed copy. So I think
Correct.
it's amazing that you offer that as well for your readers.
Yeah.
Excellent. And my next question, this woman is just amazing. You were recently honored at the Business Elite 40 Under 40 Awards. What was like that for you?
I am still in awe. The fact that I was even nominated
Wow.
for all of the millions and billions of people in the world, and I made the national list for the top 40 under 40 years old entrepreneurs. So that was mind blowing to me. I never saw myself even being worthy of such, a great, everything I do. I'm just out here trying to change the world a person at a time, make a difference, impact a person at a time. And so to see that, my reach has gone way beyond what I ever could have imagined it to. And to see that other people are recognizing that, to get nominated and to be able to go to New York, me in New York, on the red carpet, being able to receive this award for my business, for all of the hard work that I'm doing in the community, being in the room with so many amazing entrepreneurs who are doing fantastic things, doctors, lawyers, home care workers, just so many different tech owners, just all different kinds of amazing people who are making great strides in the community. I mean, and this was one of the awards that they gave, was
Beautiful,
for the 40 under 40
yes.
awards. And so it
Wow.
was a super great accomplishment. Everything. I enjoyed everything about the amazing event. The people were awesome. The committee who put it together was amazing. We were featured in New York's magazine and on their news features. And you can
I
now Google us and our faces come up as a top 40. So it's just, yeah.
Who would have known? I love your humble spirit. It's
Thank
so
you.
attractive, you started out, you said, I just want to change the world one person at a time. It wasn't my intention to do any of this, but the purpose was always bigger, the
Yeah.
dream. And I love that you can still dream.
Yeah.
And there's still more out there for you. I hope you know that, right? There's more to come. This is just the beginning of what is yet to come, because you're not going to stop.
Right.
Don't stop.
No.
You're going to continue to do what you do.
Right.
So there is more for you. But this is so amazing. I've always heard of those awards, but I've never known anyone who's ever received one. I know I do. I'm like, okay, I know the recipient of the 40 under 40. It's such an amazing accomplishment. Like you said, you're in the room with everybody else who you think is more worthy than you are, but you are
Right.
just as worthy as everyone else in that room, because you have
Right.
earned it. You have
Right.
earned it. You're changing people's lives. Doctors do that, right?
Right.
In a physical way, and you're changing people's lives in a mental way. So
Right.
you are doing the same kind of work, just in a different format. So love that you got that honor. Like I said,
Thank you.
there's so much more. You're just
Thank you. Thank
beginning.
you.
And you're like,
Thank
oh,
you.
you've been doing this for a little while, so now you're mid quarter way. Got a lot more room to grow and to
Right.
develop and to bring more stuff to the service. Awesome, awesome,
Thank
awesome,
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, who were your role models, if you had any, or mentors when you were growing up?
Oh goodness. I would have to say my grandmothers. They were, I mean, I had amazing parents. My dad is a pastor, has been a full-time pastor all my life. My mom started out as a elementary teacher. She is now a daycare director. And so she's always dealt with kids and pouring back into children and starting them early on their journeys. And again, my dad motivating people and, praying over them and, preaching for them, and so I've always been surrounded by amazing people. But my grandmothers, it was just a different kind of love. They saw things in me that I was not able to see in myself. And they would pour into me early in life. And again, being young, it's like, I hear you, but no, I'm not doing that. I don't believe that. And so to see myself now living out the dreams and the visions that they spoke into me as a preteen and a teenager, it blows my mind. It really does, because I wish they could be here to see me living out the things that they spoke into me. But I know, and I take solitude in the fact that I know that they're happy for me and that they're looking down on me and cheering me on. And was like, this is what we were telling you. So they were a great big influence. And I keep that in the back of my head every time. And that's what motivates me and keeps driving me to keep going, to make them happy, to fulfill that vision that they spoke in me and to turn it into real life.
Wow, amazing. And that says that you've had a lot of support. You've had a lot of positive support while growing up. That speaks to that. Because like you said, they spoke things in you. They saw things in you that you didn't even see yourself.
Right.
And now it's coming to pass. What they saw and they knew for a very long time. We don't know because we're just living in the world. We're
Right.
adolescents, we're young adults. We know, we think we have it all. We got it. We know better. And then here we are.
Yeah.
But again, like you said in the very beginning, gotta go through the process.
Yes.
Gotta go through the process. We gotta have life experience to write about
Yes.
experiences, right?
Yeah.
And some of them, unfortunately, have to be tough and hard.
Yeah.
And the harder it is the more people you encourage, is the more people you inspire, because it's your truth.
Right.
And no matter what we're going through, we know that someone else has gone through the same thing. And there's people who are going through even more.
Right.
And you're saying, hey, I came out on the other side.
Right. Yeah. I
So
tell
for
people all
me,
the time, the greater the battle, the bigger the victory.
so,
You just have that much more of a testimony to tell
yes,
because you did survive. It did not conquer you, you conquered it. So, that's always there's always a win, even when you feel like you're losing.
yes, it's amazing. This past weekend, I happened to have the pleasure to go to a cancer recovery kind of like get together for this gentleman who had overcame cancer. And just being in the room and just speaking positive, because he said, cancer had me. I didn't have cancer, or I didn't have me, I had it. But just being able to overcome. And, we're like, yeah, you have an amazing story to tell. Because then you can be sympathetic just towards someone who's gone through something like that. But
Right.
when you yourself have done it, they
Right.
listen to you more because they
Right.
know you've gone through and experienced everything I'm experiencing right now.
Right.
Without the test, there's no testimony.
Correct.
It's awesome work. So in your bio, Angela, you mentioned your struggles with depression and anxiety. Can you tell us a little bit more about this and how were you able to continue right now to maintain your mental health?
Yeah, so growing up, again, I had amazing parents
Mhm.
and, our siblings that we loved each other. We're very still tight knit to this day. And so, but I also had middle child syndrome, where I
Okay.
was this middle child. I was lost in the shuffle. I was a baby for a long time until my little brother came along. And so I was, spoiled on both sides of the family. And then once my little brother came along, it was like, Angela who, and I was just like, and so I was lost in the shuffle. And I was never that child that really required much because school was easy for me. I could very be self-sufficient on my own. So my parents didn't really have to worry about holding my hand and guiding me through a lot of things because it kind of just came natural for me and easy. And so because of that, I did not receive a lot of attention. And so I had to find other ways of kind of grasping that attention any way I could from anywhere I could. And not being able to vocalize that as a kid because you don't really know, how to say, I don't feel loved, I don't feel like I belonged, or I don't feel happy. It manifested in other ways in my adulthood. And so
Right.
it caused me to pick the wrong friends because anybody who gave me attention, I gravitated towards it. I clung to it. I hung on to it. And it didn't matter if it was healthy or unhealthy. And so when it was toxic for me, it was just like, oh, well, but they're giving me attention. And so I had to learn, that no, this is a toxic marriage, Angela. You have to get out of this. Those are toxic friends. They're not really your friends. They're just using you. And so I had to learn that by hitting rock bottom, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
God had to hit me rock bottom. I had to go through the toughest era of my life of losing everything. Losing my younger brother, like I said, to diabetes, and in that same time going through a divorce. And at the same time of doing that, being off from work on an injury to where I had to sit at home in my emotions, deal with this, trying to relocate, start over again by myself while grieving the loss of a loved one and the loss of a marriage. And so it was just a tough year. And but I had to go through that because it forced me to really analyze and look at me. And that caused me to go to counseling. And it caused me to have to, sit in front of someone and listen to them tell me about myself, whether I liked it or not. And that's what started my accountability journey. And so now I'm very cognitive about taking those times and those moments when life starts to get overwhelming. And I will say, okay, we're unplugging this week. I'm canceling all appointments, all activities, all events, and I'm just taking a mental break. I don't have the capacity, and this week is just about me. This weekend is just about me. And so I take that time to just make sure I keep myself centered and focused. Every morning I start with a morning affirmation before I even start the day to set the tone for the day. I tell everyone that I encounter, you set the atmosphere. You don't let the atmosphere set you. And
Yes.
so I'm intentional about that. And so I surround myself around positive things all the time, whether it's friends, family, whether it's some type of music that I want to listen to that's going to pour into me, or a podcast that's going to uplift me, or a journal or a book that's going to give me some great inspiration. I find those ways to keep myself balanced by keeping that light constantly around me so that when it dims, I have other ways of filling it up.
I love it. Even your t-shirt speaks to it. This is when I am enough t-shirt. I love that. It's
And
all
this is my t-shirt line. So
nice.
yeah, so this is my t-shirt line. So I love it. I mean, but that's my whole mission is I want everybody to know they are enough. They have what they need to succeed.
Love that. And it's a t-shirt line. So gotta get that information too, because why shouldn't we be walking around with words of encouragement posted on our chest?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we forget, Angela.
Right.
We forget. Sometimes we forget. I'm gotta go through a lot to remember.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone doesn't have to hit rock bottom. But I
Right.
always say when you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go
But
but up.
yeah.
You know? And that's why you are this amazing light.
Thank you.
But you're intentional about it. You're intentional about being this light, this positivity, this radiance. Because again, you know what you've been through. And you're like, not going back there again.
Right.
You know the dark side.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Because depression is the dark side. It is the
Right.
dark side. It can be very debilitating. It is
Yeah.
the dark side. Been there, done that, don't want to do it again. How do you
Right.
change that?
Right.
So therapy was good for you. It was good
Yes.
too.
Yes.
That's good. I'm glad you had a good experience because sometimes it's not for everyone. But
Right.
also what I'm hearing from you is I was open to hearing what that person had to say and tell me, even if I probably didn't agree with some of the things.
Right. even if it hurt my feelings. But yes, you do. You have to be open to it. And counseling does not work for everyone. And so that's why I tell people if that's the case for you, then again, find a program. There are different programs out there that you can go and join, and they can give you classes. You can even go, if you don't want to do in person, you can go online.
Yes.
If that doesn't work for you, you can find a motivational group. If that
Yes.
doesn't work for you, start a journaling process that'll give you step by step. There's journals out there that gives you guide on how to address, there's so many avenues. So I tell people the only excuse is you. You're the
And
only thing holding you back.
who holds us back but us?
Right. Right.
It's too hard. It's too much time. It's too expensive. And here we go with all of the excuses as to why we don't want to pour into ourselves.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
It's pouring into me because
Right.
I am enough.
Right.
I deserve happiness. I deserve wellness. But you make up excuses because we have
Right.
to do something to get that
Right.
too.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing here. I had to do something. I couldn't help myself. You said before in the beginning, you were the one that was always giving great advice to everyone else. And then there came a time in your life when you needed someone to help you.
Right. Right.
Said, okay, why not?
Right. I had to admit I couldn't help myself.
Back to that self-reflection, that inner self, and knowing who we are, our limits,
Right.
of that stuff. You
Yep.
know, I have a difficult time, not really difficult, but it can be a challenge with clients learning to say no as
Right.
part of setting boundaries.
Right.
I know when to take time off for a mental health day. I know when I'm feeling depleted to scale back. That is so hard for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know your limits. You have to.
Yeah. Most definitely.
And no is not a bad word. It's a great word.
It is.
I learn how to use it.
And it doesn't need an explanation all the time. It's a complete sentence.
Thank you for saying that, Angela. No explanation needed.
Right.
You want to do this? No.
Right.
No,
Just know. Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
know I'm
Right.
needed. I'm tired. I want
Right.
me time. This time was devoted to me meditating. This time was devoted for me to be sitting in a corner and reading a book.
Right.
It's fun.
Right.
It's me time.
Yeah.
So no to that.
Right.
Easy word, just 2 letters, but very hard to say.
Right.
Very hard to say. So like you were talking about coping skills, and you said one of yours is journaling. Is there any other kind of coping skills that you've used that helped you along your way so far?
Yes, I'm very big on, like I said, meditations. And so
Mhm.
I will start out in the morning with my morning affirmations. I'll have my music playing in the background, and I'll just sit and, have my one-on-one time with God. I'm a very spiritual religious person.
Yeah.
And so that's my foundation, that's my background. And I know that's not everyone's, and I respect that, and there's different things that work for different people. That is just my therapy, my sense of peace of just sitting in that stillness, in that quietness, and just drowning out the noise, drowning out all the distractions, and just centering myself and just, being in that stillness to be able just to hear what it is that I need to focus on and, really center myself and to realize, okay, this is what we need to fix or work on this week that we could have done better from previous times and, previous encounters so that we don't have that happen again. So just really good self-reflection time that really works for me.
I like that because what I'm hearing here is you're saying, I'm setting up my day.
Right.
And you're setting up your day to be a positive, productive, all the positive acronyms that goes along with that because you're setting it up. You're starting off your day meditating. You're starting off your day saying, I am enough, or whatever else you say, right? You're
Right.
already starting off telling yourself who, what, where you are on this day, every day. How could you not?
Right.
You're setting up your day in a positive way. So many of us are very negative, right? one little thing goes wrong and everything else that we did right just went down the toilet because we did one thing wrong.
Right. Right.
And
And I'll tell people all the time, you have to be in a season of gratitude all the time. You
oh,
know,
yes.
all the time. Even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when it's unfavorable, you still have to find something that is a win and a positive throughout that day. You can always turn it. It's just about your perspective and how you look at things.
Preach, girl. Yes. 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 Perfect. I have something that I have some of my clients do call a gratitude journal. And I myself remember doing that for an entire year. Oh my gosh, it changed my life
Yeah.
because it was so many little things that I did not see that was
Right.
happening throughout the day. That was I not intentional about it, I would have missed it.
Right. Right.
Totally would have missed it.
Right.
Like you said, there has to be something positive. Our whole day is not negative.
Right.
The simplest is, hey, I'm alive today.
Right.
No matter what we're going through, no matter
Right.
what we're going through, I'm breathing today. Because
Right.
so many people did not get that opportunity today to breathe.
Right.
And it's something like, well, what do you mean? It's basic.
Right.
I have a roof over my head. I have people
Right.
in my life who love me. Whatever is true for you, just speak
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And you speak it into existence too. So when you say it out loud, it goes into the atmosphere. You hear
And I
you.
tell people, yes, yes. I tell people all the time, you can shift the atmosphere. You can change the narrative and the perspective again, but it starts with you. I even have to do that with myself at times. When I find myself getting overwhelmed, bogged down, and I'm getting caught up in my feelings and I'm letting the day overtake me, I said, okay, it's time to pause.
That's right.
Let's do a pause and practice moment. And I'll pause and then I'll practice my affirmation and I'll say, but what good did happen today?
Turn it around.
Right,
Turn it back around. Because
right,
a lot of good things did happen today.
right. Yeah,
But a lot of good things happened for us today. And even in places, I've done a lot of traveling to like Africa and places like that. And even in places like that, where we know what's going on there, people are hungry, people are starving. Yet, there's a smile on everybody's face.
right,
Kids are playing with something, whatever it is, and
right,
happy. And we look at them and we're like, but you're playing with a tiger. Doesn't matter.
right,
They have a toy and they're
right.
happy in that moment. I
Yeah,
had one meal today and I'm contented and happy that I had a
right.
meal today.
Yeah.
You know, see, we got to turn it around because I
Hmm.
know in America we are privileged.
Yes.
A lot of people don't think that we are privileged. We
Mm.
throw a lot of stuff away because we have a lot, and it's
Right,
amazing and it's wonderful. That's positive right there. In anybody's life, throw it any part of the day,
right.
turn it around. Keeps going back to us. We are sabotaging ourselves. What was
Yes,
that?
yes, yes. It's the entitlement of feeling like things are just supposed to work out or they're supposed to go in our favor or they're just supposed to happen for us. And we feel like we don't have to put in the work, but you do. You have to apply in order to see a result.
That is the part that is can be mind-boggling, right? Because we know in therapy, counseling, there is something called change. It's a
Right,
change process. But it ain't gonna be no change if you don't do something to make that happen.
right,
So we can talk, we can give good advice, we can encourage, but you have to take that information now and apply it to yourself. And
right,
that process, that's the change process. But that's
right,
also the scary process because change is unknown. It's
right,
weird. People are afraid.
right.
So I know
Well,
when I
and that's why I tell people all the time, don't focus on the progress, the process without noticing the progress.
in
Because even
the
if it's a little bit of progress, you're still progressing.
you took the words out of my mouth. Baby steps.
Yeah,
Look at babies. Look what they do.
right.
They do nothing for a very long time, then they're crawling, then they're creeping, and they're holding on, then they're walking, they're falling down, they're stumbling all over the place, and then one day they walk,
Right.
and now they're running. But it
Right.
takes a while to get
Yeah.
us. It doesn't happen overnight.
No.
But we got to start where we are. And I
Right.
think when we really are emphasizing that, we are the ones that are keeping ourselves stuck because we're afraid to change. We're afraid to put ourselves out there. We're afraid to ask
Right.
for help. We're afraid to say no.
Right.
All of those things that we do to keep ourselves in bondage, in stress, in things that we could have let go of a long time ago. We're doing
Right.
not. So all of these things. So I'm glad we're having this conversation. I can't just say it. I gotta have someone who's lived it as well to also say it. Lived
Yeah.
it, read it to also emphasize it even more for our listeners today.
Right.
Okay. What aspects of your life, Angela, are still in progress? And what's next for you? Not that we can tell the future or anything.
For me, you know, I always, like I said, I'm always trying to find ways to better myself.
Mhm.
You know, I never want to get to the point to where I feel like I've made it or I feel like I have it all together, or I have all the answers. So I'm always looking for ways to better educate myself, keep myself, you know, up to date with what's going on in society, what people are struggling with, so to find different ways to be able to relate to them and stay relatable, and, you know, to be able to help them throughout the different trials and tribulations they are experiencing. And so for me, it's just always finding ways to expand my market, but also not only just expand my market, but expand my reach of helping people in every way, form, and fashion that I can. That's my main goal. That's my main mission, is just to go as far as God allows me to, you know, where He has for me to. Because you're right, I don't know what the future that holds. I don't know what all is in store for me. I just know that I'm trusting the process, and I'm trusting the person who's controlling the process.
Amen to that. Yes, we don't know, but you're definitely on that trajectory. Whatever is in store, you're on that trajectory to make that happen
Right.
while helping people, while motivating people, while encouraging people. You're on
Right.
that. And I already said it. There's so much more for you. With this attitude, with this humility, oh my gosh, there's a lot more in store for you because you are humble. You are
Thank
humble.
you.
That spirit is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be definitely some new projects dropping. So,
Cool.
be ready to look out for those. This
Sure
year, I
will.
had a lot of speaking engagements, so I paused on releasing new books this year. But next year, I'll definitely have some new projects coming out that I'm working on, and so I'm excited about those. Again, always looking for new ways and new things to put out to help people, to motivate people. So be on the lookout for those. And yeah, look,
Absolutely.
you know, just look up, because you'll never see my, you know, where you're going to see my face. I may be in Vegas speaking, I may be in Phoenix speaking. You know, I'm kind of all over, so you just never know.
Just love it. I'm definitely a fan. You know I'm a fan. I'm always commenting. I'm always loving her stuff because again, it's so motivating. It's so positive. How could you not like what she has to say? It's amazing. It's uplifting, you know.
Thank you.
And again, part of the reason why you're here because I want everyone to be uplifted and inspired by you. That is what you do, and it's genuine. You don't
Yes.
do it for this is my job. You do it for it is your job, but it's coming from a genuine place as well.
I love it. I enjoy it. It's, for me, it's not even work. It's really a ministry for me. It's just, you know, this is what I wake up every day and I want to do it. You know, I enjoy doing it. When I don't do it and I do take the time off, it's like, okay, I'm still thinking about it. What can I do next? What are, you know, it's just, you know, it's an enjoyable, it's, again, it's therapeutic for me, you know. I love it. And even then, that's why I have a YouTube channel that's an inspirational channel. Let's Talk with Author Ange. And so every Monday I'm putting out Monday motivational speeches.
Love
You can
it.
find them on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you know, it's all over. But I always try to find little nuggets to drop, you know, just to inspire people, to help people. So the messages are out there if you want them.
Absolutely. No, I'm loving it. There's so much more. I love that. I mean, my question says, what brings you most joy and comfort? But you said a lot about it, but is anything else specifically you want to say that brings you those amazing feelings?
I think for me, what brings me the most joy and comfort and seeing my mom and sister get to experience it firsthand was so refreshing for me. But for me, what brings me the most joy and comfort is after I speak, whether it's for 30 minutes, an hour, 15 minutes, having someone come up to me with tears filled in their eyes and embrace me and hug me and say, "You don't know how much you helped me in just that short moment of what I have been trying battling with and trying to figure out for the past years or so." Like that is the most refreshing for me because it's that gentle reminder that I am helping someone, that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I am making that impact. And so that for me that's the joy. That reminds me of this is why you have to keep going, Angela, because you are helping people. You are changing lives.
And in the beginning, Angela said, I just want to change lives one person at a time. And I always say, like you, when a client says years down the road, oh my gosh, you helped me go through XYZ, that makes me feel good. It's like, even if I help no one else, hey, I know there's one person or two people
Right.
that said,
Right.
you helped me get through this hump in my life.
Right.
And then we know, because we do need validation too, right? But out there helping people, but we do also need validation. And those validation comes in. We're like, oh my gosh, okay. So I'm doing
Right.
what I'm supposed to. I could just see the tears. I could just see you. I can just, because again, your personality, I can just see you just hugging on them, loving on them, telling them it's going to be okay. It's all right. Because again, you've been there.
Yeah.
And look at me. If I got through it and I'm on the other side,
Right.
why can't you?
It's possible.
Oh, absolutely. You get them at hope
Yeah.
that it is possible. Okay. So such a busy young woman, busy career. She's writing books, she's talking, she's out there. You're everywhere. Love that. We know social media is like a full-time job in itself. It can
Yeah.
be. What does self-care look like for you?
Self-care for me is taking again a day to just if I have to go get a massage, I will go do that. If it's just treating myself to a movie and just unplugging from all social media devices and TV and phone and just sitting out and enjoying the back porch and just listening to the rain or watching it or, just going and get a man in a petty. It's always for me the simple things. I am so simplistic when it comes to making me happy. I don't have to have all the hoopla and the rah and all that. And I mean, and I enjoy it when it happens.
Yes.
But for me, again, it could just be something as, simple as just sitting on the couch, unwinding, having my music playing in the background while I'm just, doodling and jotting down notes and stuff, or just watching TV, or even just out with my friends and just sitting out and, having that glass of wine and we're all pouring into each other and talking about future goals and dreams. And so, it looks for me, it just depends on the moment. It looks for me in different ways. Yeah.
Love it. Simple. You said watching the rain, listening to the rain. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Back to basic, right?
Yeah.
Because nature is amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing and it's free. And there's
Right.
something magical in watching the rain and really being in that moment. It's magic.
Yeah.
It's magical. Sound of it, the smell of it. There's a whole thing about rain,
Right.
you know?
It just
So,
washes out the old, cleanses and brings in the new. Yeah.
cleaning away, bringing fresh, bringing new. It's a source of survival for a lot of people because people do drink rainwater
Right.
in parts of the world. It's amazing. But back to basic. And I always tell people you don't need to spend a lot of money to have great self-care routines. Because not everyone can afford a mani-pedi, a massage, all the flu. Somebody just can't, but it's sitting on the back porch, having that glass of lemonade. I know it's hot in Texas.
Yeah.
Having that glass of homemade lemonade because it's not like it. I know, or some sweet tea. I think that's starting. I don't even know.
Right.
But just enjoying those moments.
Right.
Around and us being like, wow, life is good.
Yeah.
It's love that. Very, very simple, very basic. It doesn't have to cost a thing
Right.
for us to enjoy and then have a nice self-care routine to take care of
Right.
yourself. not only of physical health, but also our mental health. Very,
Right.
very important. We are winding down, Miss Angela. Is there anything else you would like to leave our guests with today? We've talked about a lot of different aspects of your life. Is there anything else you would like to share with our guests today?
One thing I always like to leave with people is to remind them to not get caught up in the imposter syndrome, that you have what you need to succeed. It starts with you. You need to believe in yourself, put in the work, take the necessary steps to make that change happen, and then humble yourself enough to where if you need assistance, it's okay to ask for that. That doesn't make you lesser than, it doesn't make you weak, it doesn't make you too vulnerable. It makes you human. And it means that you care enough about yourself that you're willing to put in the work to be the best version of yourself. And so just believe in yourself, take that time to set yourself up for success and be that great asset that you are, and view yourself how people see you. You're a gem. You are a blessing to encounter. So carry yourself as such, act as such, believe as such,
Mm,
know as such, and then trust yourself as such.
ooh, love it. Couldn't say it better myself. It always goes back to us. Goes back to us. And having those tools goes back to us. And and speaking of imposter syndrome, I feel like it's something that's very common, especially when you are at a certain level. But even very basic, it can be just school. I'm not as good as that person. I'll never get an A. I'll never do this. And again, it goes back to what we're telling ourselves.
Right.
Because we don't have to be like anybody else, Angela. It's got to be us.
Right.
And people don't understand that. And it goes back to your t-shirt. I'm getting one of those t-shirts, by the way. After I don't want those because you are enough. You don't have to be anybody else but you.
Right.
Do you?
Yeah. You're your own competition.
There's enough room for every one of us.
Everyone.
We all do this differently. We all have different people who are going to gravitate towards us. And I had to learn that early as a therapist because there's a therapist in New York City at every corner. Every corner you'll find a therapist. How are
Right.
you going to compete with anybody?
Right.
You realize that you don't have to.
Nope.
Bring you
Nope.
to your
Nope.
clients. You
Yeah.
don't have to.
Yeah.
My experience, my background, my everything, my training is different from the next person. I don't have to be anyone else. And until we recognize that, we're not going to be a true, authentic self.
Right.
There's a
Right.
saying, there's a saying that goes, everyone is already taken. Why not just be you? Or something like that. I'm
Right.
paraphrasing it.
No, that's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
We are a gem. We are unique. We don't want to be like anybody else. I cannot do what you do, and you cannot do what I do. You bring your own things to the table, and so,
Right.
and so does everybody else out there. There's
Yeah.
no competition. It's only with ourselves. So I'm so glad. Again, I can't say it any better. And you have said it because you've been there, you've done that. And it can be a real struggle for a lot of people. This imposter syndrome. We don't have to be like anyone else. We only have to be ourselves. We have enough. I am enough. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I am enough. And you got to believe it.
Yes.
And we got to believe it. Because we
Yeah.
got to believe it. And sometimes that's the hardest part is really believing that.
Yes.
Because success looks different for everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
$1 million does not make you successful.
No.
It can make you having a whole lot of headaches and worries. It
You're
doesn't make
right.
you successful.
Yeah. No, that's
That
true.
means for ourselves.
Yeah. Run your own race.
It's a solo race.
Yeah.
We're not competing with anyone else.
No.
He said, we're doing what we're supposed to do. We cannot do what anyone else is doing. It won't work
No.
for us.
No.
We'll be the imposters because it's not being ourselves. We're not bringing our true self to the table. And we always want to do that. No matter
Right. Yeah, you cannot focus on who's getting more likes or who's getting more shares or who seems more popular or who seems to be making more progress. Because one thing I tell people all the time is we make things look good how we want them to be perceived. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. You never know what someone's battling with. People can, on the outside, look amazing and well put together and go home and cry themselves to sleep every night and battle depression. So never compare yourself to somebody else's journey because you don't know what it takes to be who they are every day.
Mm, exactly right. And it is that person's journey.
Right,
It's not yours.
right,
It's theirs.
right,
And that's what makes a difference. That's what their journey is supposed to look like. It may not look like that, but it doesn't mean that you're not changing one life
right.
with what you're doing. Love it. Love it. Love it. You are just, oh my gosh. Love having you on. Love the inspiration. Love the positivity. I already told you, love the humility.
Thank
All of
you.
it embodies you. Someone who
Thank
has struggled and battled and has a story to tell, like we all do. We all have our own story to tell. So again, we're going to have Angela's all of her social media. If she wants to give that out. Definitely her links for her books, for her t-shirts. What else do you have for t-shirts that you have written up on?
There's a new line and it's called I'm Possible that I'm dropping. That's part of the motivation for the kids book line.
Okay.
And so it's a new line that basically instead of the word impossible, it blocks that out and says I'm possible. And again, it's a reminder about it's all about how you look at things.
Love it. Love
So
it.
that's a new line as well as a t-shirt line. So again, we have some great things in store, kind of playing with some tumblers and makeup bags and things with these affirmations on it. Because I believe sometimes if you just carry it around with you and you have that reminder of even when you forget to say it out loud, but I look down and see it and it's that friendly reminder of, you know what? That's right. I do have it. I can do this. Yeah.
Love it. So we definitely are going to have that in a description box so people can go ahead and order. 'Cause I think it's great. I think it's amazing because again, sometimes we do need to be reminded.
Right.
Yes, we do. We forget. We forget
Yeah.
we're enough. We forget who we are. And
Right.
it's always good to have that reminder. Oh my
Right.
God. Angela, thank you so much. I know you are super busy. So I am so thankful. I know you are for you taking this time to come on and just sharing with us your journey, your struggles, your successes, all of it. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. I'm always elated when someone thinks enough of me to want to share my story and want to, hear what I have to say. So I appreciate the invitation wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Absolutely. She definitely has a lot to say. And again, I know you have and will inspire so many people just listening to your journey, literally. So, guys, we are going to wrap up. Again, Angela, thank you so much for being a part of this episode. I
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate it. Guys, again, if you haven't liked or subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. We want to have a lot more amazing guests like Angela come on so we all can be inspired. Because she's not just inspiring you guys, she's inspiring me as well. All my guests inspire me in some different way. And I absolutely love it. That is who I am and what I'm about as well. So, Angela, again, thank you
Thank
guys. Thanks for
you.
watching us always. And I will see you guys in the next episode.